The triad of tide and storm. Sounds pretty epic, right? Well, today we're going to dive into what that's all about. We're heading to a small coastal community where something really fascinating is happening. So picture this. Along the coast of a place called Araucana, there's this buzz. And it's not just some passing trend, definitely not political. It's something way deeper, a new kind of devotion. And it's really catching on with the younger generation. And right at the very center of it all, three figures. But here's the thing, people don't see them as just people. They're seen as living archetypes, like they embody these huge, powerful natural forces. So the big question is, who are they? All right, let's start with the anchor of the whole thing, the one they call the Moon Daughter. Her whole deal? It's all about this deep, calm gravity. Her name is Marisawa Torakavez. And for the people who follow this path, she is literally the calm in the center of the storm, this still point that this whole new circle of devotion just kind of revolves around. You know, it's not about outward power or anything like that. It's all about an inner state. Her followers look at her and they see this perfect divine balance, this serenity. She's the model for something they call lunar discipline. Think of it like emotional control, but tied to the steady, reliable cycles of the moon. Pretty cool, huh? And that's why this whole thing isn't your typical religion. They call it a circle of devotion. It's more like an order that's all about study and ritual. People don't, worship her in the way you might think. Instead, they show their gratitude for her guidance by doing acts of service, playing music, and giving these symbolic offerings, things that represent purity, like oil, water, and even poems. But okay, you can't have stillness without a little motion, right? Every calm sea has a storm brewing somewhere. And that brings us perfectly to our second figure, the storm wolf, also known as the guardian of the flame. And this is Jarawano Tarakavez. So if Morisawa is that calm center, he's the total opposite. He's this protective, super energetic force on the outside. He's the guardian of her circle. And their whole dynamic is defined by this amazing concept, the union of wave and flame. I love that. Her calm is perfectly balanced by his motion, his thunder. Someone even described his charisma as the flame that keeps her night alive. So their bond is seen as something way beyond the ordinary. It's both superhuman and kind of divine at the same time. All right, so that's 2 points of the triangle. Let's talk about the third. And this archetype plays a totally different role. This is the mirror of the tide, and he basically represents the path of devotion itself. His name is Matalawa. And even though he's a classmate of the other two, his role is completely different. He's not a leader, he's the devoted initiate. He's the one who follows. So Matalawa's whole purpose is to be a mirror, right? To reflect the ideals of the other two. He follows them with this incredible reverence, and his whole path is about learning through obedience and reflection. And what he really symbolizes is a huge part of this movement, being willing to let go of your ego for the sake of a greater harmony. Okay, so we've got the moon, the storm, and the mirror. But what's the big idea that ties them all together? Well, they call it the sacred weather. The core teaching here is this concept called Kasoran Kanya. It translates roughly to the sacred weather of love. But listen, it's not an emotion like love. It's more of a state of being. It's the atmosphere that gets created when three powerful currents, passion, discipline, and humility, all come together in perfect unity. And here's how that all breaks down. Each archetype brings something to the table to create that sacred weather. You have Morisawa, the moon, who brings the discipline through her stillness. Then there's Jarawano, the storm, bringing the passion with his courage and transformation. And finally, Matawala, the mirror, brings the humility through surrender. You absolutely need all three. Take one away, and the whole thing falls apart. Now, an idea this powerful, it's going to make waves, right? And it has. This whole movement has become this huge point of fascination for local students. And with that comes speculation, whispers. People are saying this triad isn't new at all. They think it's a revival of something way, way older. So the rumor mill is churning. People are saying the rites performed for the Moon Daughter are actually ancient practices from these forgotten sea temples being brought back to life. They say the initiations are all private, and they involve these symbolic offerings, things like silver shells, deeply personal songs, and even this mysterious thing called moon water. But if you push past all the rumors, there's this one saying that seems to get passed around among followers, and it really gets to the heart of it all. To speak her name in moonlight is to vow honesty to oneself. Wow, that kind of tells you everything, doesn't it? The ultimate commitment isn't to a person or even a group. It's about being true to yourself.
So that's what we're left with, this incredible triad of forces. You've got the passion of the storm, the discipline of the moon, and the humility of the mirror. And it really all boils down to one final big question. When you actually combine those currents, when they really come together, what kind of world can they create?